What's up, everybody, and welcome back to On the Diamond and Into the Deep. And we are here on a Monday afternoon. It is 4:08 p.m. on May 13th, 2024. It is a Monday, as I just said, and it is the first game of a series here against the Kansas City Royals, who are going to be a pesky opponent. So we are going to get into that. Mariners also did just win 2 out of 3 against the Oakland A's. A couple really solid games, especially for the bats, and one not so solid game. Again, that one's especially for the bats too. But again, I'm your host. I'm your host Mahal, as always. Welcome back. We're here. Took a break before last weekend. Had a pretty busy end of the week there, so wasn't able to get anything out. But we are going to try to do 2 episodes this week. I should be able to. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to, but off day Thursday makes that all easier. So let's get into it. We will start with the recap here against Oakland, and we'll start with game 1. The Bats came alive after a really rough series against Minnesota, in which they just kind of got overpowered and struck out a ton and just looked terrible. And the Mariners kind of just got overpowered in general. They lost 3 of 4 in that series, and I mean, Twins are rolling. So I'm not gonna go too much into that. I was gonna do a recap on Thursday, but with timing and all that, I wasn't able to. But I think it's honestly maybe for the best. That was just a series that you kind of wipe, move on, get a couple of series here. Hopefully, get some confidence against Kansas City, who are actually a pretty good team, and it's gonna be a tough series. But we'll see what we can do. And we started against the A's and got some confidence back as we're about to head into Baltimore this weekend, New York at the start of next week. Then we'll get into a little bit easier of a stretch. So let's talk about the A's series. Game 1. 8-1 win for the Mariners. Paul Blackburn started for the A's. He gave up 7 earnings, and he did it quick. He gave up a lot of runs very fast. Josh Rojas, 2 hits. Both were hard hit. Julio Rodriguez, no hits. He had 3 strikeouts. Brutal game again for him. Haniger finally had his first hit in maybe ages. Cal Raleigh with a hit. It was not a homer. Sorry. Cal Raleigh with another hit. Scored 2 runs. No RBIs. Zavala came in for Cal late in the game. Cal had a base hit, 2 runs scored, 2 strikeouts. Garver, no hits, but he walked once, 2 strikeouts. Rayleigh had another hit. It was a double, so good for him. France with a double also in that game, 2 hits. He had 2 RBIs. Rayleigh had 1. Dylan Moore was the capper. 5 RBIs, 3 hits, 1 hard hit, and that kind of led the Mariners. Brian Wu started this game. He came back from injury for his first start of the year, 4 1/3 innings. He came out with some tightness in his arm. It doesn't sound bad. It sounds like he will make his start on Wednesday this week, so not much to worry about there, but it is good to see him back. I wasn't able to watch his game, but good to see him back. He gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, and had 3 strikeouts over those 4 1/3 innings, no runs. So good, really good to see for him. Trent Thornton came in after that, inning a third. Snead also threw an inning in a third. Bolton threw an inning. Both threw an inning, and that closed the game. So you didn't use any high leverage relievers there, and overall pretty solid game. There's not much to say here. Wu got 5 whiffs in those 4 1/3 innings. Rojas hit a ball 369 feet. Rayleigh hit the ball really hard. Again, not much there. But yeah, let's move on to game 2. Again, there's not much here. Mariners bats struggled pretty mightily, to be honest. It was not a fun. I watched this game. It was not a fun game to watch. I watch most games. This one was especially brutal to watch, to be honest. It's just, I mean, losing 8-1 is never fun. But when you're losing 8-1, it just feels like nothing's going your way, and then you're up or you're down a run going into the, I believe it was the 8th or the 7th maybe, 7th or 8th. You have your dudes come in, you have Stanek come in, you have Spire come in, you're like, okay, we got this. They don't got this. They really did not get this at all. Stanek came in, threw an inning, gave up a run, and Spire comes in to the 8th. I don't know what to say here. He has struggled this past week. He struggled a lot. He walked 2 dudes in this outing. He struggled with his command, which is very much not like Spire, and it's very much so worrying. So this is a dude that if he doesn't do what he needs to do in this bullpen, their bullpen's going to have some problems. And you need him to be the dude he's been. And if he's not, we're going to have problems in the bullpen. And we're going to have to talk about not only acquiring a reliever, but a high leverage reliever. We might have to bring back Seawald. I'm not against it. I'd be all in. If he stays healthy, especially. But we'll see what the Diamondbacks do. When it comes to this deadline, it's hard to tell. Obviously now, who knows who's going to be in it? But there's a lot of dudes that if teams aren't in it, you could be really interested in. Staying with the Diamondbacks, Christian Walker could be a dude that you could be really, really interested in. Ty France has been horrendous this year, and it's getting to the point where it is becoming a problem. Can't wait much longer for him. It is May 13th. We are a month and a couple weeks into the season. We want to win this division. We want to make the playoffs. We want to go far in the playoffs. We can go far in the playoffs. As John Smoltz said, if this lineup does what it needs to do. And it can't do that. Frickin' Ty France doing what he's doing right now. It can't happen. He has to be better. And his defense has been terrible too. He's been, I believe, 1st percentile of outs above average. Just horrible. 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 I mean, there's not much to say about him, but he's been terrible. Again, Spire gave up 2 runs, gave up 2 walks, gave up only 1 hit. He just needs to find the zone. If he can find the zone, he's going to find success. It's pretty simple. And I think he will. Really do. I think he's going to get back to it. I don't think this is going to be a long-term thing. Game 3. Really fantastic game for the boys again. Julio Rodriguez. I don't want to say he's back. But, wow. What a game for Julio Rodriguez this was. Wow. Julio Rodriguez, homer, double, walk. Double was a foot maybe, if that much, from a homer. The dude figured out how to elevate the ball, and he hit the ball hard, as he has been doing. He's close. I've been saying that, and I do really think he is close. And he's been hitting the ball hard, and I know he's been striking out and doing some terrible stuff. But if this series is any sort of indicator, he is close. And if he gets there, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Because Julio needs to carry this team. Mariners will ride the wave as Julio does well. Mitch Garver also hit a home run in this series, and he has been fantastic. He really has. And I'll talk about him in just a minute here. But Mitch Garver has been very good recently. That's the dude you've been wanting to see. So that's important. He needs to keep that up. Polanco, on the other hand, we have some worries about. Especially, bat speed came out yesterday for the first time on Baseball Savant, publicly available for the first time. Polanco's in the 20th percentile. It doesn't mean a lot, obviously, but it's an indicator, especially for a dude that is a power sort of dude that it's not like Josh Rojas is in the 2nd percentile. Luis Ariz is in like the 1st percentile. But these dudes are dudes that are going to slap the ball around the yard, and they're a little bit more Ichiro-like. With Polanco, he's the type of dude that needs to hit. He needs to hit extra base hits, and he needs to hit homers. That's who he is. If he can't do that with a lower bat speed. So I think that's where the worry comes in for me. And he's having a hard time seeming to recognize pitches right now. So we'll see what we get from him. I'm a Polanco truther. I have been. But seeing that is worrying for me. We'll see what we get. Player of the series is Dylan Moore. Hit 400, 364, 7 huts. Hit 400, 364 on base. How does that work? That's weird. And a 700 slug. He had a homer, 6 RBIs. A lot of it was in that first game, but he's been awesome since JP went out, and JP sounds like he'll be back to this weekend series, so that is really, really, really good to hear. But fantastic weekend from Dylan Moore, and he's been fantastic since filling in again. So cheers to Dylan Moore. When these dudes get back, you know who you're sending down, but I think the hard part is where are you going to get playtime for all these dudes? Because Rayleigh deserves playtime very clearly. So does Dylan Moore. So what are you doing here? You're probably playing Ty France a little bit less. Probably playing Mitch Haniger a little bit less. We'll see where it goes from there. They have depth. So the thing I hammered the nail on in my season previews. They have more depth than they've had in past years. And it allows them for dudes to underperform, some of the dudes at least, and have some dudes also overperform. Not overperform, but perform better than they were expected to. It is good to see. It really is good to see. This is new. And they need bats. They really do. They need at least a bat at the deadline, and a pretty solid one. If they can get that, a bat, solid bat, and then a nice middle to end of the order bat, you could see this team do some special stuff. And if they do, remember who to come to. Come to me. Come to Diamond and Deep. Come to On the Diamond and Into the Deep. Come to Mahal. And I'll tell you, I've been hammering this nail. I've been hammering this horn. I've been hooting this horn. I don't know what the saying is. Whatever. Anyways, player of the week is Mitch Garver. He has been fantastic. He really, really has. Mitch Garver this week hit 286. Wow. 286, 407, 571 with a 177 WRC plus. He hit 2 homers, had 5 RBIs, and he's hitting. The biggest thing is he's hitting. He's hitting for some power. And he's not striking out quite as much, but he's hitting. And it's a good sign. You need him to hit. He's a dude you brought in to hit. He's legitimately your designated hitter. So you need him to hit. And he will. He's too good of a hitter not to. He will hit. Just give it a second. We could see some fun stuff from Garver. And if he does again, special stuff from this team. So, let's get into a little preview of this Kansas City series. Game 1. George Kirby. We're repping the shirt from Simply Seattle. George's Dreamland, and you got a little Kirby character on there. Beautiful. But, anyways, George Kirby, Brady Singer will be the matchup for Game 1 tonight. Hopefully I will have this out before then. But Game 1 tonight, again, George Kirby, Brady Singer. Singer, majority slider sinker. He's going to get a ton of ground balls. Mariners have really actually been pretty good against sinkers. I saw some stats earlier today. They've been solid against sinkers. So we'll see what they can do to it. It means a lot of balls are going to be on the ground because of that sinker. It has been very good. That sinker has probably been his best pitch. And it took a huge step from last year. And I wanted to know why. I wanted to figure out what was making the difference and causing it to be better. And honestly, you can't find a whole lot. He's getting a little bit better ground ball, but the only real difference in the sinker seems to be that it's moving a little bit more horizontally than it was last year. So, if you're watching this game and you have access to a computer or your phone, look at Baseball Savant, look at how he's averaging in terms of horizontal movement, look how it's moving horizontally. That's going to be a little bit of a teller on how it's going to play. Again, it has been very good this year. Will it continue being this good? It's hard to know. He has been very good this year too. He's getting a lot more strikeout, a lot more ground ball, and the sinker has been good instead of bad, which have been the biggest differences. And he's leaving 85% of his runners on base. So what does that tell you? Number 1, Mariners need to get some runners on, get him off of the sinker, force him to throw the four seam, force him to throw the slider that he struggled with a little bit, force him to throw the stuff that haven't been as good. Okay? Do that. Get the ball off the ground a little bit. He's given up a few barrels. He's about league average, a little bit below. So get some barrels up. Don't let him strike you out. Again, get him off of the sinker. You can get him off of the sinker, you can find success. All his pitches have been very good. They've all performed pretty great. His changeup has been the only one that hasn't, and he's only thrown it against lefties, and he only thrown it 24 times. Which, if you want percentage, that's 3.2% of the time. He's thrown it in 8 plate appearances. Get him off of the sinker and get runners on, and then drive the runners in. And don't let him settle in. You cannot let anybody settle in. Their biggest mistake here in this season has been getting pitchers on the ropes or getting them close to on the ropes, and then getting a strikeout or giving up a double play, getting the pitcher out, and then letting him settle in after. You gotta just hammer him. If he gives you the opportunity to, you gotta hammer him. Hammer the pitch, score some runs, make him uncomfortable, make him throw pitches, get into the bullpen. The bullpen's going to be interesting in the series because the Royals have a pretty solid bullpen. They have about 4 dudes at the back of the pen that are going to be pretty solid, that are not going to give up a ton of homers, not going to give up a lot of free passes. So you're going to have to do the work. But they're also not going to pitch a lot. So you're going to have to get them out. And they're rested right now. So you're going to have to get them out of here in Game 1 and Game 2 before you get to Game 3. If you want to win the series or get a sweep. And this Game 1 is really important, I believe, if you want to win this series. It's probably the least favorable of all the pitching matchups. Singer's a pretty solid starter, but you have Kirby on the mound. You need George to show. You need him to show up. Game 2. Michael Wacha, Logan Gilbert. Michael Wacha. 4-seam cutter have gotten crushed. And I mean crushed so far this year. If you want some statistics on that, because, we like to talk some statistics, his 4-seam batting average against has been .429 this year with a .390 expected. Opponents have slugged almost 600 at .595 against it. They have a homer off of it, only 8 strikeouts, they're only whiffing 17.4% of the time, with only 16% put away. He's given up 2 doubles, a triple, 18 hits, sorry. 469 WOBA, 430 xWOBA, so it's underperformed a little bit, but still not fantastic. In terms of the cutter, 412 batting average against, 306 expected, 588, slug against, 374 expected slug, 485 WOBA, 371 xWOBA. These pitches have been his worst pitches. You have to get to these pitches. The sinker has been really good this year. The changeup has been even better. The changeup has been his best pitch. He's made mistakes with the changeup, and if he makes a mistake with the changeup, punish it. This is Game 2. If you make a mistake with the if Wacha makes a mistake with the changeup, punish the changeup. Punish Wacha. Crush the pitch. Force him to throw the pitches he's less comfortable with. He's going to throw all his pitches. He's going to throw 5 pitches. Changeup's going to be thrown at 33%, 4-seam at 25, sinker at 15, cutter at 15 too, curveball at 12. You have to make him throw the 4-seam and the cutter because those are the pitches that have gotten hit. And how are you going to do that? You're going to have to either lay off the changeup, not chase it, or hit it, foul it off. Similar thing with the sinker. Don't let him use those pitches to his advantage. Get him away from those pitches. The ball is also going to be put in play a lot. He's not going to strike out a lot of dudes. This is Michael Wacha again. He's not going to strike out a lot of dudes. He's not going to get crazy ground ball rates. It's almost even with fly ball, but he's going to get a little bit more fly ball. Depends on what you're looking at. Fangraphs has it about even, but Baseball Savant has less ground ball percentage. He's also leaving only 65% of runners on base, so get runners on and you're going to be able to score them probably. So, yeah. You're going to get some ground balls, so you have to use that to advantage. What does that mean? You're going to have to find some holes. You're going to have to hit the ball hard. You're going to have to get runners. They're going to run, and you're going to have to do it. Use speed to your advantage, and also elevate the ball a little bit. Just get it off the ground. Score runners. He's 24th percentile in whiff. So what does that mean? If you see them whiffing a lot, that's not really great. That's always the case, but I don't want to see them whiffing a crazy percentage in any of these games, or ever. But especially against a dude that's not getting a ton of whiff. That means the ball is going to be put in play. It's just about whether you can hit it hard. He's been pretty good about limiting hard hit and barrels, but that can always change in just a game. That can change instantly. Game 3, Brian Wu, Alec Marsh. Marsh is, I believe, a rookie. He's had a little bit of time before this year in the majors, but he's basically a rookie. Alec Marsh is not going to walk a ton of dudes, but he also hasn't gone deep into games. So again, this is where the bullpen comes into it. You're gonna make them use their bullpen arms in this game. They're going to have to, because Marsh is not the type of dude that's going to go beyond 6 innings. He hasn't gotten into the 6th inning in all but one start, and that was his first start of the year, in which he went 7 innings. That's the farthest he's made it. He hasn't made it past the 6th otherwise. So you're going to have to get him out early. You're going to have to work your counts. You're going to have to work them. It's going to be crucial. This is one of my keys to the series. Is working the pen in game 1 and game 2 before you face Marsh in game 3. But also working the starters and not letting them settle in. It's going to be crucial, and especially in this game. Don't let him settle in. He's got a 60% first pitch strike. So he's not going to throw 100% first pitch strikes. So what does that mean? Don't always swing at the first pitch. Be patient. Make him uncomfortable. Make him win the at-bat. Don't win the at-bat for him. Don't give him that. That's a case all year. But it's going to be crucial in this game. He's been randomly really bad in the 1st and 4th innings of this game. That means that is the top of the order that he struggled with more than likely. And that means he struggled with it the first and second time through. So your best hitters, jump on him. Jump on the slider and jump on the sinker. You're going to see sinkers in this series, and you have to keep hitting sinkers like you have. In terms of the team overall, again, the back end of this bullpen is going to be solid. They're not going to give up a ton of homers. They're not going to give up very many walks. If you want names, the back of their bullpen, they've got 4 dudes there that are going to be pretty solid. James McArthur is their closer. John Schreiber, who was with the Red Sox for a while, is also going to be back there. Chris Stratton's going to be back there, and Angel Zerpa. Those are going to be the 4 dudes you're going to have to watch for mostly. Zerpa is going to be their best lefty out of the pen, so he's going to be called upon to face your big lefties. Maybe Cal. We'll see what they can do. In terms of when they last pitched, the only one that has pitched in the last 3 days, only one that has pitched since Friday is MacArthur, and he pitched on Sunday through 11 pitches, so he might be down, but even 11 pitches is not very much. All these dudes are going to be available tonight, and if they don't pitch tonight, they're definitely going to be available tomorrow. So you're going to have to make them use dudes. Get their bullpen out of the game, and don't let them score a lot of runs. And how are you going to do that? You're going to have to limit Bobby Witt Jr., who has been really, really good this year. If you remember 2 years ago, it was Witt, it was Adley, it was Julio. Ridiculous 3 in the AL for the Rookie of the Year. Who was the worst that year? Witt, probably. Now, who has been the best this year? Witt. Witt has been really, really good. You're going to have to get Witt out. You're going to have to get Vinny Pasquantino out. You're going to have to get Salvador, the old man Perez out. Those are the 3 that have been really good this year. Those are the 3 that you're going to have to get out. But you're also going to have to get out MJ Melendez and Michael Garcia. Michael Garcia will probably lead off, and that's annoying dude if he gets on the base paths. Don't let him get on the base paths. Don't give free passes. They give a lot. The Mariners give a lot of free passes to Lawrence Butler this weekend, who is fast at AF. So don't do that. Don't let these dudes get hot, and don't let Witt kill you. Don't let Witt. Salvador Perez always finds a way to, so he's probably going to hit a couple big homers in this series. If you remember, 2 years ago, he basically single-handedly kept them out, or 3 years ago. Wow, that was a long time ago. 2021, he basically single-handedly kept them out of the playoffs. He hit like 3 homers in the series or something in Seattle. So see what you can do. The Royals haven't won since that series in Seattle. Probably is going to change this week. I bet they get at least one of these games. They're a pesky team that is not a fun matchup for the Mariners in general because they run. Mariners have struggled a lot with teams that have dudes that are going to run and dudes that are just going to slap the ball around the yard and get some random base hits. That's when the Mariners have struggled, and that's what this Royals team is going to do. So it'll be an interesting series. The Royals pen is also rested, so don't let them get to the big 3, big 4 at the back of the pen. And if they do, make it so you're winning by a few runs, so that they're trying to get back into the game. And yeah, my Mariners for this series, Gabe Spire. I think he's coming back. I don't think this is gonna stick around. I think he's been too good for this to stick around. I think there's been something weird going on. I think he's gonna find his command, and he's gonna be really, really good again. Really good. I think he's gonna be stud like reliever again, and they need him to be. I don't know if this is more hope or more actually thinking this is going to happen, but either way, please happen. Julio Rodriguez, I'm also going to take him. This is my first time, I think, taking him all year. No, I think I took him a few weeks ago. I'm going to take him again, though. We got him right here. We're going to take this lad. You're going to ask why. I'm going to tell you. I saw him elevate the ball yesterday. I saw him have a nice at-bat yesterday. He's been working his butt off. I think it's coming. And I think this is the series where we see it. I think he breaks out in this series and some sinkers, and he goes, and he has a good series, and he does well. Go Mariners, basically. Julio, J-Rod Rodriguez, J-Rod Squad, J-Rod Show, whatever, I don't care. Storylines, JP and Canzone. Both are on rehabs now. JP will be starting his tomorrow. Dominic Canzone started his on Friday. They're both expected to be back in Baltimore this weekend. So, big. You're going to send down Rivas. You're going to send down Haggerty, probably. Who have both been... Rivas hasn't really played even. I think he's played maybe 1 game. Haggerty has played a little bit, and he's been god-awful. So, whatever there. Gregory Santos had a setback. He's probably out till middle to end of June now. It's kind of worrying, to be honest. It almost feels like they're just prolonging something worse. You're probably going to need a high leverage reliever at the deadline. And it sucks because that's going to cost you some stuff, but it shouldn't be too bad. They're really smart with acquiring relievers. They know how to do it, so I think they'll probably be able to get a dude that's not even on our radar, and they'll get him for a solid price. Again, you're also going to need a bat or two, so we'll see what happens there. But go Mariners, y'all. Thank you all so much for listening. This was kind of a weird episode from my perspective, I think. Not a lot to talk about in general. Just kind of a few series here that are just kind of like in the midst of a lot of more fun series. And the Royal series will be fun, but the Oakland series, there wasn't really a lot to talk about there. There's 3 blowouts. Mariners won 2 of them, so good to see there. Back in first place. Rangers got swept by the Rockies. I didn't want to talk about that. How the heck did the Rangers get swept by the Rockies? I mean, I'll take it. I really will. I don't really care. But, like, how? What did you do to get swept by the Rockies? I mean, God. Terrible. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. Happy Monday. Let's go win this series. Get 2 out of 3. Go Mariners. Peace, y'all.